How many of us can raise our hand today and say we have at least $100,000 in savings? Okay, there's one. Well, everybody else in the room, see, there's a 1%er. In this room, keep your mind, first off, keep your mind open. And there's two ways, really, you can get wealthy in America. You find a need and you fill it. The other one is investments. This is what the wealthy do. This is how we create wealth management. Okay, this is an article. And if y'all noticed, we brought in a lot of third-party articles because we didn't want to come in here and be like, Primerica this, Primerica that. This is what's real, what's going on in the world today. This is not just what Primerica does, but we found the need and we're filling it. That's why we can create wealth here in Primerica. So with this one, Bloomberg wrote an article on J.P. Morgan. How many of y'all are familiar with Chase? All right, these are the largest banking in the United States. And it says J.P. Morgan sees clients with less than $100,000 unprofitable. So when we think of banks, we don't think of banks as businesses. We think of banks as, hey, we can take our money there, and they'll help it grow for us, right? At a whopping 0.2, 0.3 if you're lucky percent. And we're supposed to get wealthy off of that, right? But no, again, banks are in business to make money. So this is just one of the headlines here. Next one, how many of us are familiar with Bank of America? Again, they're on every corner almost. But Bank of America had a good idea. They tell Merrill Lynch, y'all need to drop the small clients. And when they're talking about small clients, they're talking about the ones that make less than $100,000. Again, that's middle America. But again, banks are in business to make a profit, right? So we can't get mad at them, right? But anyway, so I just wanted, this is where we are in the statistics today and what's going on in our economy and why the middle America is not making it and why the city or the state of Detroit just had to declare bankrupt because the banks and the credit unions are all talking to each other to see how they can get ahead instead of the consumer. I'm going to show you a video real quick. Okay, there we go.
It's a dream. A lot of Americans retire at 65, start living a good life, but the recession has now put that further out of reach for a lot of us. Elisa Manel, she's just finished a study that says if we wait until we're 70 years old to retire, we've got a much better chance of having a good retirement. She's director of the Center for Retirement Research at Boston College, and I have to say, Professor, this is not the number we wanted to hear, 70, a little bit more time to work here. How did you come up with this?
Well, I mean, the goal was actually to make people comfortable with the notion of working longer. Most people say, I don't want to work until my 90s, and so we thought if we did a careful study showing how much longer it would have to be, it would seem manageable. So 70 is the age that will let people maintain the same standard of living they've had before they retire once they stop working.
And we hear a lot from retirement planners that you need pretty much $1 million to retire. What do you think of that figure? How does that relate to stopping at 70, working till you're 70?
So we really don't think in terms of an absolute dollar amount, because if you think about it, low-income people don't need $1 million, and high-income people need a lot more than $1 million. So we think in terms of what percent of your pre-retirement earnings do you need, and that number we usually work with is around 80%.
80%, okay. And the biggest retirement mistake that we make, what should we do? Should we take a lump sum from our employers or put it off?
I think the biggest mistake that people make is grabbing their Social Security benefits as soon as they become available at age 62. If people can work until age 70, their monthly benefit will be 75% higher than it is at 62. And that gives you just such a much larger secure base on which to build to support yourself.
If you were to stop working at 65 and retire at 65, instead of 70, would you be in danger of not living the way you're accustomed to?
Yes, our estimates show that approximately half of the households will not be able to maintain their standard of living if they retire at 65. So this moving from 65 to 70 brings that number up to 86, which we view close enough to the whole population. So if we could get the population as a whole to retire at 70, most people would be able to support themselves in retirement.
So bottom line, we just got to work a little bit longer now.
We do, and we understand that not everybody can do it. Some people have health issues, some people have spouses with health issues, some people's jobs are outdated. But for the great bulk of the population, working longer is really the way to have a secure retirement.
All right, well, we'll just keep working. Thank you, Professor. Appreciate the study.